Hello there everybody, and this is my video commentary of my experimental level design custom level Beacon GP, built in Turbo Sliders Unlimited. So, what is Turbo Sliders Unlimited? It is a game that I've found that I'll be building, that I've built this level in. Originally, it was going to be Trackmania. Now, the reason it isn't Trackmania is because there was a technical problem, but that's besides the point. We're using this now, and I'm happy that I went with this in the end because I really enjoyed using it. Turbo Sliders Unlimited has a very chaotic environment because you can animate pieces to move, as you can see there, and it has up to 20 players racing at a time in online lobbies. So let's get right into it. So the level, as I've said, is called Beacon GP, and it's inspired by two things. One, the art style being the realistic looking art style. It's inspired by sort of real life racetracks, but because of the obstacles like these here, these moving columns, this sort of harkens back. I fell out. This harkens back to sort of Mario Kart or kart races, where things will get in your way, and it's sort of like it's like a really like crazy environment. Originally I'd made some sort of level sketches, right? So I built one level sketch. I drew it out, and I wasn't too happy with it. Then, to sort of draw to the inspiration a bit more, I made a second iteration that was all sort of inspired by F1 tracks in how they're laid out, with these sort of extra bits of unused road. So, as you can see on the left there, where the tyres are, just there, look. Yep, there you go. They are sort of parts of the track that aren't used. Now, this might confuse the player, but if you afford them well with arrows and curbs and the tyre barrier, then hopefully the players won't fall for it. These unused sections of road can be used to sort of change the layout of the track to make it either shorter or longer or play a bit differently. It adds that sort of replay value to the track. So, let's begin with the design theory. So, first of all, I want to talk about affordance, and that's seen everywhere. The road itself is affordance, the markings on the floor is affordance, and the sort of like the red and white curbs that sort of like warn the player of an upcoming turn, that's affordance as well. It just sort of is there to guide the player properly around the map. And I think these parts are integral to a map. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to switch to a different vehicle. So now we will be playing as the Drifty combo. So this combo actually sort of skids quite a bit, and I would say this is for the more like advanced players. Literally the difference between these cars is night and day. We have the sporty one, which is more average, and then this one, which is advanced. So next I want to talk about tutorialization. And now this is sort of perfect because for each obstacle I show it off safely on its own without any other obstacles around it. So first it's the moving columns, then it's that sort of moving wall that moves up and down, and then it's these ramps, and they're showed off on their own safely before the player encounters them all three at the same time, like here, for example. So this just sort of allows the player to sort of learn like what happens with these obstacles before they encounter them. And this just sort of, this is just way better for the player, so they don't get confused or frustrated. You may have also noticed that we have a ghost as well, and this sort of adds to the sort of reward system that might be in place on this track as well. So, like, the player feels rewarded when they beat, like, their ghost, because they've done a quicker time. Next, I want to talk about safety nets. Now, safety nets in the track are literally as simple as the walls that stop the player from going out of bounds. Now, those ramps are, of course, not, like, they are too much for the walls. Like, the ramps will allow you to fall out of bounds. However, that's where the second safety net, the respawn button, comes in. I nearly fell out there, you see. But yeah, so that's where the respawn button comes in. The respawn button allows players to spawn at the last checkpoint they crossed, and this is helpful for if they accidentally skip a checkpoint, or if they accidentally fall out of bounds, or like an obstacle launches them far into the sky. It just helps the player get back on their feet. And finally, I want to talk about scaffolding, and the order in which the level is laid out. So the way I make racetracks is it starts off like sort of easy and manageable, and then it starts to pick up a bit and gets a bit more difficult, and then the middle section of the track is always the most difficult. Then it sort of levels out a bit and it's not too easy, but it's also not too hard. It keeps like a moderate difficulty for the player to handle. Overall, I think this level is good. I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm just happy with the module in general. I had a lot of fun making it, and it's very intuitive to use. So I'll see you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.